An authentic Peking duck is one of these dishes that is said to be almost impossible to pull off at home, and with good reason. First of all, you'd need the right type of duck, but the fun would only begin there because there's this multi-day process of like all sorts of like treatments and roasting, and it's super complicated, but it results in this delicious juicy roast duck with this fatty, aromatic, and shatteringly crisp skin. And I would totally agree, this part is not impossible, but extremely difficult to pull off at home. But then there's something else. It's not the duck itself, it's how you eat the duck. Delicate carvings of Peking duck are wrapped in a thin pancake called a chunbing, which is then smeared with sweet bean paste and garnished with scallion whites or leeks and cucumbers. And that combines into this perfect flavor package. And to me, that is actually the fun part of eating Peking duck. But unlike making the duck itself, that part is actually very easy to recreate at home. So what if I told you that you can make a delicious weeknight meal that hits all those Peking duck adjacent flavors and notes with something as simple as chicken wings? Look, I'm definitely not the first person to come up with a riff on Peking duck like this. There's a pretty common home-style Chinese dish called jinjiang rosi, which is pretty much the same thing but with pork slivers. And even at a Chinese KFC, you can get something called the Old Beijing chicken wrap, which is the same idea but like a fast food version of it. The reason I'm gonna use chicken wings today is because they have a very high skin to meat ratio, and that makes it the best part of a chicken to use for mimicking a fatty duck. We gotta remember to add some flavor and crispiness though, and for that we're gonna make a dredge. We begin with some potato starch or other starch, and then we start building our flavor. Salt and pepper first, then a few shakes of 5-spice and a bit of cinnamon. Trust me on that one, it's awesome. Lastly, I'm adding some baking powder, which will help with crisping up the skin. Whisk those to combine, and yeah, things might get a bit dusty, so wear your mask, I know you have one. And now, chicken wings. One little thing I love about chicken wings is that when you hold them at the right angle, you simply need to cut straight down to separate the drumette from the flat. Super easy. Then add them straight into your dredge bowl, and you know, it's not called tossing for nothing. Mask is still on, by the way, but after this we're good. Make sure your wings are coated very evenly, and then spread them out on a tray and pop them in the oven on high heat until golden brown. This will usually take between 25 to 30 minutes, but just start checking at 20 and then go longer as needed. In the meantime, we're gonna work on our pancakes, and yes, we can make them from scratch in under 15 minutes. The original Chinese chunbing is actually a super thin flatbread. Over on Chinese Cooking Demystified, you can see how it's traditionally done. But I've had this idea of a lazy workaround slash hack in my head for a long time, which, I mean, pancake is in the name, right? Like many good things, this one begins with an egg. Let's add a pinch of salt, a few shakes of 5-spice, and just a little sesame oil for flavor. And then finally, flour and a little drizzle of water first. I find that a thicker batter is easier to mix clump-free, and then you can add the rest of the water after that. We're looking for a very thin crepe-like batter. And for this method, a small non-stick skillet is definitely the way to go. Take it to medium-high and add just enough batter to cover the surface of your skillet, swirling it around immediately. I mean, we're basically making mini crepes. If your pancake is imperfect, either just leave it like that, it's fine, or you can simply fix it with a few extra drops of batter. These are not exactly the same as chunbing, they're a bit more tender, but considering how stupid easy they are, I say it's a win. You'll probably even be done before the chicken wings turned golden, crispy, and delicious. Let those cool for a few minutes while we prepare our garnish. The first element here is a bunch of scallions. Traditionally, you only use the whites, but you can also use the green part if you like. Slice them lengthwise, which is, you know, how this is served in Peking itself. And next we have a cucumber. Any type works, but I would recommend scraping out the watery seeds in the center with a teaspoon. Slice the cucumber lengthwise, and that's it. These two garnishes are extremely simple, but the combination of those just screams Peking duck, especially when paired with the right sauce. The real deal Peking duck is served with something called tianmianjiang, which is a Chinese sweet bean paste. You can usually find it at an Asian grocery store, but what I would recommend, especially for this recipe, is simply using hoisin sauce. It's definitely somewhat of a close cousin to tianmianjiang, plus hoisin sauce is just a great condiment to have around. But back to the chicken, the wings are cool enough to handle now, and the last step is to debone them, which sounds a lot more difficult than it is. For the drumettes, you simply hold them firmly in your hand and then twist and pull on the bone until it pops out like this. That's it, barely takes like a minute to get through all of them. For the flats, there's a bit more technique involved. First, locate the wider end of the wing and then break off the top joint. You should see the ends of 2 bones. First, take the smaller one and you can basically just pull that right out. The big one is a bit trickier, but if you hold the wing steady, it should also just twist out very easily. Et voila, perfectly deboned, crispy aromatic chicken wings without using any oil, by the way. And then serving them is actually the fun part. On your pancake, you want to generously spread some hoisin sauce, then add 1 or 2 pieces of chicken and of course, scallions and cucumber. How about that? Peking duck style chicken wings in just a bit over half an hour. When are you making them?